Hey, so I done some pitch videos, and I figured I'd go back and look at a pitch concept, and compare it to what was eventually turned out. So the idea of 3 live-action Spider-Man crossing over. This was an idea that I batted around for a while, since Spider-Man and multiverses seem to go together naturally. And then when No Way Home came out in 2021, it performed really well. I had this concept structured out back in 2017, and I just found it interesting contrast to what No Way Home eventually did. Overall, a bit of a learning experience with how I wrote stuff, managing expectations and such. A lot of things quickly became out of date. I mean, I had Thor with an eye patch because it looked like a cool idea from Thor Ragnarok, the last MCU movie that I saw at the time. And then the next movie he got a robot eye, so that was quick. And there's more as I go along. So I set up the idea that there was a threat, in this case Mysterio, who was a super powerful mystic user, who even the most powerful Avengers like Thor couldn't hurt. But somehow Spider-Man can because of complementary wavelengths, Rick and Morty-ass excuse. I thought it was a clever idea to establish that Spider-Man or Spider-Men are the only people who can handle this job. And I went with Mysterio because of Shattered Dimension cutscenes and just amped him up. I will say I like what the MCU did, leaning the fact he really is a guy with special effects and just misdirects, while also making him the ultimate hater. And also that his acts of deception allowed him to have the last laugh against Spider-Man. Overall, Spider-Man just doesn't have a lot of magic-related foes, which people like. I respect the movie's approach having their own spin on One More Day, and just being a botched spell which Peter can only fix through an act of responsibility. The way it gets there is really dumb in the first place though. Easy to let it slide for the sake of a crossover, but still dumb. The story they went with works with Tom Spider-Man's overall story, but I like my explanation, which happened to be another day in the life where they happen to stumble upon a new foe. Compared to what the movies did, I gave more of a story for what the other Spider-Men were doing, delving into Toby Peter now having a life being a responsible teacher, and Andrew Spider-Man having a clone crisis, which I got from the 90s show Spiderverse crossover. The movie didn't really delve into their personal lives, they just sort of showed up, which with all the stuff going on in the movie, made sense they'd be used sort of minimally. At best they had their one little contribution. Toby makes sure Tom Spider-Man didn't kill, Andrew Spider-Man moving past the death of Gwen Stacy. In my pitch I would have had 2 Andrews, one of them good Spider-Man, and another be an evil clone that teams up with Mysterio. I also would have had Mysterio be Bruce Campbell, who appeared in all the Raimi movies, and who was a teacher friend with Toby, so Toby could be seemingly crushed by this betrayal. Though knowing their ideas for how to introduce Bruce Campbell Mysterio, they always intended to be a bit of a joke. I didn't have any plans bringing back any of the former villains which played a pretty big part in No Way Home. I mean, for a reunion thing kinda makes sense since they're enthusiastic cast members too. I like what No Way Home did with Defoe Green Goblin, though some of the mechanics don't really make sense since they say people that died, but Sandman Lizard didn't die. I will say my final act would have revolved around Mysterio hooking up Stan Lee to the machine from X-Men 1 to conquer the multiverse, and the Spider-Man would have to stop it, which clearly would have been outdated with Stan Lee passing away in 2018. And who knows if they had plans to use Stan in a pivotal way in a Spider-Verse crossover. Basically, my idea would have mashed together the ideas from the 90s show Spider-Verse crossover with Clone Saga and using Stan Lee, and Shattered Dimensions using an evil Mysterio. The movies evidently did their own thing. Also, I had this one concept, which would have involved Mysterio flinging all the Spider-Men to different dimensions, and the Spider-Men would have had to sync themselves up with the help of Madam Web to collectively fight Mysterio in different dimensions, and it would have looked like a Spider-Man with 6 arms. I thought that idea would have been kind of cool. I also may have made this pitch based off that idea. Also, yeah, I would have featured Madam Web, who was in both those crossovers, and now the biggest thing she's known for is that weird Sonyverse movie. Public perception, man. But anyway, that was my idea versus what No Way Home did. A bit of a learning experience, and just gotta accept people doing their own thing, and sort of the expectations of reality, like people who'd come forward and such. And who knows what Sony will do with their Spider-Verse ideas. Would they have money in mind, or more of a story? Will they do more Spider-Verse or street level? I guess we'll see. Anyway, cheers.